Hardy Construction.
What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/thehardyconstruction with your host Comp and
Ray Shagul.
And it's Bad Movie Month here in the Hardy Construction, which is October 2013. What is our next film, Danny?
Well, if you could call this a film, it is called Skinned Deep.
Yes. It's a 2004 film directed by Gabriel Bartalos. It doesn't even have an explanation on the IMDb.
Did he direct anything else? I'm curious.
I don't think so. I think he's a special effects guy. This movie is courtesy of, it was suggested to me of demonicOrigin.tumblr.com, who has a really good...
Thank you.
pretty great Tumblr. But he knew it was fucking awful when I told him.
I actually enjoyed it. I have to admit.
It's a pretty bad movie. I think the bad outweighs the good. Nah.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is terrible, and it's kind of joking. Like, it knows that it's terrible, but it does things that even though it knows it's terrible, it's still terrible.
Since IMDb does not have an explanation for this 2004 masterpiece.
I'm on Wikipedia, and even it's messed up in the first sentence. It says, "A family of American are lost in the highway on a family trip."
Imagine that was from a foreign person that saw the movie. A family of American. Anyway, here's three funny things. I'll get to the third one later. First one, you know how the movie starts out on somebody's arm and they're getting this kind of burning scarification?
Yeah.
That's a real person getting a real scarification done to them, according to the IMDb.
Oh, that's a shame that they got SD on there for this movie.
To them, the SD probably means something totally different. You know what I mean? Once they saw the film, they're like, before the movie came out, it's for this movie called Skin Deep, and then after, they're like oh, it's for social disorders.
Anyone wants to get the initials SD on their arm.
He had to literally change his name to like Seth Damage or some shit like that. So yeah, pretty much from the opening, you can tell how absolutely dumb this is because we're cutting between an arm getting an S and a D. I thought that would play into the film. Shockingly, I thought that would play into the film later on, but it didn't.
You thought that it would make sense?
I know, crazy me, right? I thought Bartalos had something up his sleeve. So anyway, this person is getting an S and a D burnt into their forearm. I assume that's what it is. And then it keeps cutting back to an old man warming his hands up by burning trash and then going into his truck. And then it just says Skin Deep. Like, this movie's fucking stupid, man.
This is the thing that what this movie is. I mean, it knows it's bad and it's joking.
No, it doesn't.
But there are things about it that are just bad that were not intentional.
No,
the sound quality.
I think it thinks it's cool.
No, it's not cool.
Yes,
there's no way. Warwick
I know. You and I don't know it. No, I mean, we both know it's not cool. I'm saying they think it's cool.
I don't think so. I mean, Warwick Davis is in on the joke because no one dances around like that. He's amazing.
He did it in Leprechaun 2.
Yeah, but he was funny in that too.
2?
He's amazing.
No, Leprechaun 3, excuse me. No,
Warwick
yeah, of
Davis
course.
can do no wrong.
No, of course. Warwick Davis is, of course, the best. That's why, like, in the trailer, they say...
He throws plates at people.
There's something that happens with that plate in that movie.
He has plates hiding in the dirt that he could just grab at convenience.
I remember on the trailer for the film, which of Demonic Origin pointed out as that his favorite part is that when they say starring, whoever else, whatever, and starring the Warwick Davis of Harry Potter and whatever, like, holy shit, that's what they were selling this by. You know, a movie's gonna be bad when they sell the film as like a directorial debut of a special effects guy, because they don't really have anything else. Like, a movie would usually stand by itself, you know what I mean? And you can see, it's pretty cool. It's like the guy coming from the director who made the Green Goblin's glider. Who the fuck gives a shit? If it looks good, fine. Listen, the artistic effects in the movie are 100% fucking fantastic. There are 2 or 3 special effects in this film for a movie that had no permits to shoot. Surprisingly.
So the scene where he's running naked, that was just like illegal?
He got arrested. They actually, undercover cops arrested him in the street when he did that.
Really?
Yeah. That's what makes it kind of interesting.
Me like the movie even more.
Because I read the IMDb in that part and I was waiting for that scene and it showed up earlier than I thought it would be. I almost thought the movie would end in New York City with him running around naked because it was so retarded. But
that was a funny scene.
That was the actor Jason Dugrey, who actually he plays a character named Brian, which they call him Brain because what's wrong with him, Danny?
He has a big brain.
Yes, it's very obvious humor in this film.
And you know, for such a big brain, you'd think he'd be smarter.
And the way he that's what I would figure too. I guess, but when we saw inside, it's pretty empty. He's I would almost say that his performance isn't bad in the movie.
Are you serious?
I'm telling you, for some reason, you know what he reminded me of? He kind of reminds me of like a Trey Parker kind of acting.
I don't know. I think the acting in this movie.
No, here's the thing. I looked up his reel. Like, I actually looked up his reel to see what he does besides this. Mm-hmm. And he's fairly decent, and he's smart enough to leave this movie out of his actor's reel. Like, it showed everything else he was in. And I'm like, holy God. And he had to walk on. He had that fleshy, doughy body that he ran outside in the street with his genitals exposed.
I can't believe you got around. That's really funny.
So what? You weren't really impressed with Brian's Brain's character or his acting or anything like that?
I think the acting in this movie is the worst acting I've actually ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, I don't.
Everyone's reactions to everything are so off.
I don't know if anybody was really acted at all. I mean,
Tina sees her family get murdered, and it's almost like she reacts almost like the way you would if you found out that like your hamburger got overcooked or something.
It's so funny because I would understand. Like this is the only character. This feels like the only character who never breaks character in film ever. Like nothing phases her. Like she's almost like has no feeling. Like she's
nothing
a sociopath.
Phases any of them. Even the old people at the end, like they're seeing people getting murdered left and right, and their reactions are so. Like it's like they're comatose or something. I've never seen anything like it.
And it's funny because we'll get to that. Anyway, for the beginning of the film, we see that old man who gets into his truck and he's driving, and he doesn't see at night. It's not even raining, I don't think, and he's wiping the inside of his window for some reason. Like he thinks that's gonna change how it looks outside. I can't tell anyway. So he gets run off the road by the Major General, or whatever the fucking guy's name is.
Surgeon General.
Surgeon General. Okay. Who's actually a pretty cool design. He's a pretty neat design. He kind of reminds me of something out of Mushroom Head. That's like a band that nobody knows about besides
I've heard of them.
Chicago people or California, whatever. And flip the truck gets flipped over. You can tell they shot a lot of stuff because they try to fit every shot that they can in the movie, and it looks like an epileptic fit because it's so badly done.
They spent $600,000 on this movie. They should have just bought me like a nice house or something.
Could have had a good couple of years at an apartment. So and then we're led to a scene of people smashing this car, and I was watching it just into this first 5 minutes of this movie. I thought that footage was from the future of people at a car at a drive-in theater watching this movie, destroying their car out of anger. Because of how bad this movie is.
Yeah, like pretty much within the first 10 minutes you know this is a bad movie.
I mean, I'll give them props for, they actually do found footage, right? A little bit?
Was there?
No, the mother, a family is seen driving. They're on a trip, I guess, to see America or whatever they're doing.
Oh.
And
yeah.
Zach Galifianakis is the father. And
was that Zach Galifianakis?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
He looks like him. Anyway, he's telling the mother, he has the mother direct the video camera towards them, and he's telling them why they're there, which I guess is a pretty interesting way to say why these characters are here, even though obviously we can tell they're on a fucking train. It doesn't matter.
But this is the thing that bothers me about the movie. I mean, well, you know, so stupid, but whatever. The girl, she could get away so easily, so many times.
Yeah, Yes, it's so bad. So the family, we'll get to that. The family gets to this. The family gets a burst tire, right?
Yeah.
Clearly showing somebody threw this kind of weapon into the middle of the road.
Like a mace or something.
Yeah, and the bad guy pulls it away slowly, even though the father couldn't see it. Clearly in like the same fucking view in daylight, by the way. Anyway, he goes to this diner and he sees this old woman who's probably the best actor in the movie. I don't. You think?
That the old? No, I think she's the worst actor.
No, she's horrible. But everything she says is dubbed over in the film. Everything.
Is that what it was? Because I noticed it was so awkward.
I went to the IMDb because this movie was incomprehensible to me. Like I couldn't believe I saw this. went to IMDb and somebody was complaining. They were like, they had a whole post about just the old lady. They're like, why the fuck was she like a Japanese movie where she was talking and then only spoke an hour after what she said? And I was like, yeah, you're right.
There were scenes where the guy plates is throwing plates, and he has this whole thing of plates behind him. And then he'll turn around and, he'll cut away and he'll go back and there's like 2 plates left. Then it will cut back again and the plates are restocked.
The worst plates part is there's this big old like Mad Max slash oh god, what was that movie that I enjoyed but I forgot?
The old man scene?
Huh?
Where the old man's fighting him?
No. Mad Max and the fact that they're having this kind of car race between these fat guys. Nobody's safe. The elderly, families, and the fat are very much victims in this movie. Yeah. So anyway, they're chasing down this truck full of fat guys and Kirk Hammett from Metallica. And there's a part where plates and he like... It was actually not that bad looking shot where the camera's in the truck with the fat guys looking at like Plates and Major General. By the way, Plates is played by Warwick Davis, who was
he's the best part of the movie.
He is. He was the leprechaun obviously, and he plays this little guy in this white suit. It looks like almost like a cleaning suit with a black back satchel that has plates in them. And he has white.
He literally
face.
throws plates at people.
Anyway, so he's throwing these plates, and I'm looking at it, and they're like whizzing by the camera, like wow. And then it took me a second to realize it was CG. That those are plates.
Yeah,
you know how?
Right at it.
If you watch the scene again, because what he does, for some reason, the plates pop out of his back, almost like a toaster in that scene. But they didn't do it correct, because the third time he does it, the plate floats in air, and he grabs at it, misses, and then it's magically in his hand, and he throws it. It's the worst CG effect I've ever seen in any movie. It's unbelievable. Like, I had to rewind it because of how horrible it was. I was like, what the fuck is this? They had it right the first 2 times. Obviously, the guy who directed this movie is a special effects guy, because they say that in the trailer.
Well, maybe not CGI.
Maybe not. But there's great practical effects in the film. Very cool practical effects in the film.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, yeah.
But I can't understand how a guy who's good with art... Hold on.
Even the peace sign thing, remember that?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Hold on. But what I don't get is that this guy is like an art director. Let's say he's an art director. He knows practical effects. He knows how to do special effects. I would think having that would give you leeway on how to make a movie. Maybe I'm just taking a guess.
Or that maybe he's seen a movie.
But if you think about a lot of horror films that are direct to DVD, it's a lot of the special effects people directing these shitty movies. That's why they're just special effects guys. There was this movie. I saw both.
I guess they don't understand the concept of story.
And obviously, I think what he did is he worked on one of the Leprechaun films. Maybe that's why he got Warwick Davis to work with him. So that's probably why he did it. But it reminded me of this movie. Oh man. This movie that I saw on FearNet called Laid to Rest 1 and 2. I saw both of them. They're a lot, story-wise, they're better than this, but that's not saying much. Okay. And that's directed by a special effects guy, and he happened to get, if you watch Game of Thrones, you got Queen Cersei, who's a fucking Lena Headey. It's fucking awesome. I have such a crush on that actress. She's in it. The kid from Terminator, the television show, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, because both of them were on that show.
I never seen that show.
I heard it's good, but I just never watched it.
It seems like it would be cheesy.
But that was a special effects film directed by a special effects guy, and you just watch it and you're like, whoa.
And it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's watchable, but it's not anything that you would want to watch. You know what I mean?
They don't know about maybe story and like acting and stuff like that.
Right, but they happen to put good actors in that. Well, for the most part in that movie, and the main bad guy of Laid to Rest is this guy who has a chrome.
I mean, Warwick Davis is a great actor to me.
Right, he is. So they kind of ask him, hey, you want to be part of this project? It's a couple of days. You know what I mean? And Laid to Rest has an amazing fucking looking villain in it, and same with here. They know how to make kind of a villain that looks that you'd want to wear a T-shirt about.
It's kind of a fun movie.
Yeah, just look for Laid to Rest and you'll see Chrome Skull.
I don't know. I really like this movie, as horrible as it is.
I figured you would. I think you would. But anyway, Granny tells him to come to their house, and they pretty much speed up the storyline within 20 minutes of the film because horror.
It's Texas Chainsaw, man.
Yeah, they actually should have called this Texas lack of budget massacre because
Right.
it's fucking terrible. I mean, you watch it and you can see it's weird. You know what it is like? You know how a lot of horror films spawned out from like Freddy Krueger and Freddy Krueger and Jason are pretty much in the same category as in slasher, even though Freddy Krueger is completely different.
Yeah.
But you know when they make like Scream
Well,
or
yeah,
something.
there's like these like prototype scripts or whatever, generic scripts that like then you could take it and change it into different things. Like how many home invasion movies are they're all like the same exact fucking thing.
Right.
But, it's never bad.
At least in those are slasher films. You can kind of twist the story at least to make it fit. And with those type of films, like slasher movies, you can kind of repeat and recycle whatever. But for some reason, when a movie is sort of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you can't help but go, "Oh, that's fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre." Why are they just kind of doing it? Even though every other movie is an ape
That's
of
true.
itself. Do you know what I mean? Even with
Or you could say House of a Thousand Corpses, but that
right, but that was
Texas
good. That's like a different example of it. I think it's so rare that you do see kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of film that when you do see one, you're like, oh, this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because
Yeah.
it's in such a
Well,
weird...
it did go off and become a separate thing. It
Right.
became like robot people invading a town or something.
with the space aliens and shit. So the family goes into this house led by Granny, and she introduces them to the Surgeon General. I don't know why, because he doesn't really do any surgery in the film. He kind of
Right.
sits there in the shadows wearing some guy's face. I guess it's the old man from the beginning. I didn't really put two and two together. And they're introduced to Brian, who feeds them food. I like why the father laughs a lot, right? The lumberjack dad.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, there's a part that had me laughing is when the white Granny says, "Oh, the Surgeon General likes you," and the mother's like, "Oh," and the father's like, "Hey, watch your step,"
Yeah.
hey, laughing and stuff.
It's so bad.
It's really hard. It's all like most of the. I think 90% of the audio is dubbed in this film, like really poorly
Yeah, it's
after.
like really bad audio.
But speaking of Granny has the worst dub ever. You can tell there's a part when I think the daughter gets away and they lock her back up, and the Surgeon General's downstairs with her, or either Brain or somebody, and the Granny's talking through a trap door to them, and I guess the actress ran out of breath reading the line, so she kind of trails off, even though the mouth keeps moving. It's fucking great. Anyway,
the whole sound of this movie, and it's not hard to do good sound. I'm a sound guy. I know this. It's not that hard. I don't understand what they spend their budget on.
I don't even think that the boy, the young son in the film, like I don't think that was his voice at all in the movie. I think that was like an adult that did his voice.
When he holds the bunny,
It's very stupid. But like, there's a part where they kill a little kid early on in the film because they actually just massacre her family 20 minutes into the film, and we're led to hope that this girl.
and they're all completely unfazed. As the wife is killed, the dad's kind of like, "Hey, you can't do that."
Everybody's like, "Whoa!" Like, and this is like the most lethargic hero. I feel bad for like making fun of Dario Argento's characters. Because at least maybe there was something in the Italian water that made them all fucking kooky. But
well,
here,
I feel like they all had like Asperger's or something.
yeah, autism, right?
In this, they're just like on morphine or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen if the girl had a drug problem in the beginning or something. You know, something that made like if she took cat tranquilizers or something.
And then randomly, she's like really angry, like a killer or something.
That was the only time she was any good in the movie, like acting wise. When
She killed somebody by putting sand in their mouth.
it was probably like Nesquik in his mouth. They killed Kirk Hammett with Nesquik. I like the part when she falls through. No, she's crawling. She there's like a room full of newspapers, and Brain is trying to. Brain says the best line in any movie ever. He says, "I didn't know if you were hungry, so I bought you soup and money." It's fucking. I had to put a photo of it on the fucking Tumblr. But anyway, she finds some way out, which is like the catacombs of this giant house. I don't know what the fuck kind of house it is. And she one of the best things is she falls face first through a hole, but she's
like really far, and she's fine.
But the thing is, she's falling upright within the next shot. So I don't know how that could be. Like maybe the house has these weird physics that I don't know. And she happens to fall into a room with a TV set that shows all the video of her family. Like they built that
Right.
catacomb just for her to fall into. It doesn't make any sense. And her father's like laughing at shit. It's pretty
And she
funny.
can't open that door even though it's like clearly openable. Like you see someone like holding it on the other side.
Yeah, it's really cheap. And then we're introduced to these old guy, like this really old like geriatric motorcycle club. They call the Ancient Ones. They have this like dead buzzard on their back or dead what are those birds that eat people when they die and
Vultures.
stuff? Vultures, right? And it's fucking hilarious. Those old fucks are so funny. Especially Shakes. They introduce Shakes.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to drink his coffee, and this guy next to him who could have been funny, but they didn't
Did
give
you
him enough
notice
line.
that the coffee came out yellow?
Oh yeah, because it was probably horse piss. But Shakes tries to drink this coffee, and they give him Shake because he's shaking. And if you look at it really closely, he's wearing glasses in the scene. And then the next shot, the guy's like, "Hey, why don't you stop trying to drink coffee if you can't do it?" And he goes, "Fuck you!" like really horribly. It's equal to if you've ever seen Session 9. Session 9 is this fucking great like psychological horror film, and it has David. Oh god, the guy from NYPD Blue and CSI Miami.
Duchovny?
David Carradine? Is it? No, David
No,
Carradine.
Duchovny.
No, that's the guy from X Files. Well, anyway,
okay.
David, whoever that guy, because that guy has a fuck you in that movie that's amazing, but the old guy's fuck you in this one is just as great.
There's a point where Tina says it's her and like
I almost forgot about because she finds a way out of the house, and the last geriatric guy wants to get some of that old sandy pussy from Granny, and all his friends leave. So she's like, "You gotta let me out of here. She's a killer. She's crazy." And the old guy doesn't believe it. The old guy looks like a host of like fucking Family Feud or something, and he's like, he gives like that old school wink, and she's like, "She's evil," but it's the delivery and the editing of that scene is almost like I was waiting to see, like, if you watch any Hong...
It's unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah, because it slows down, but it's shot not at a slow motion rate. It's shot like regular speed, but they slowed it down, and the voice is all slowed. It's almost like if you watch one of those old school 1991 Hong Kong films when somebody jumps out of the building in slow motion. That's what it looks like. But for this context, it doesn't make any fucking sense. She's saying she's evil in slow motion. Like, okay, what does that add to the fucking movie? And,
nothing. What does anything in this movie?
Nothing. And we're led to see Brain, who's trying to woo her because he's really interested in her. I know as soon as I saw the fucking sequence on YouTube with Brain trying to, after her brother gets split in half. Brain says, "You got to keep her. Make sure she's all right." And it's this delivery of a line that's so
badly done.
It's so badly done. It's inhuman how bad it is. That like he's trying to woo her.
Do a better job.
He's trying to woo her.
That is how you know.
At least they try to do some semblance of plot because he teaches her how to ride a motorcycle.
But then there's the thing.
Yes.
In a park.
Yes.
Like, there are people around.
Yes, this guy would.
He's like 20 feet away from her. What is she doing?
A guy with a giant brain and a huge Native American headdress with beads on it is there. Tied her up, drove her into the middle of a fucking park where there's people visibly, you can see them in the background, and she can't just run up to one of those people and go, "Hey, can you get me out of here?"
It wouldn't even be hard. He's not even dangerous.
He's not. He has a giant brain. She could have done what she does in the movie later on, really early. I thought, whatever.
Then you find out the creator, who's basically like Dr. Frankenfurter or something. He looks like Rocky.
He kind of looks like the Adonis that they create in Rocky Horror, but without.
He's got like Cueto living inside his stomach.
I would give them the biggest props for that because I was watching it going, where the fuck how did they do that effect that well for this $60,000? And obviously he did it himself. $600.
$600,000.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad. But I mean, I don't know if you admit it, but to me, I was pretty impressed by his whole look.
No, it was pretty good.
It's basically an old school. But he's like a muscular fat guy because he's not like ripped, but he is. He got a big shoulder. You can tell he's a top heavy shoulder guy, and he has a leotard that says dynamite on it.
And then there's like a thing on Brain's head that says wrong. What was that?
What happened was because I guess it was a joke that in the whole sequence, which is Mad Max, where they're trying to outrun this. I mean, where they're trying to drive this car off the road and kill the guys. Yeah. He's wearing, I guess, like Mad Max kind of like a knight's helmet or a mask or something.
Right.
but he opens up the wrong lid, like he wouldn't know where his face is coming out. It was a very stupid joke. That's what I thought it was.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, they have that whole car sequence, and they're trying to force her to kill somebody if she wants to be part of the family to marry Brain, and it's just really fucking retarded. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And they're
a
driving her on the front of a car. That scene actually was kind of cool.
it's a likable movie, but it's really horrendous. I mean, if you can,
The only part that's really the saving grace of it is that the acting is so bad.
yeah. Do you want?
You just can't help but find it charming.
Do you want
And
to?
also, the Warwick Davis is amazing.
I was hoping Shakes would save the whole movie, and he kind of does in a way, but not fully.
Shakes the guy that rips
The old man, yeah, Warwick Davis' head off. Shakes is like us spoiling it won't even capture the magic of
Yeah,
what
it
this
doesn't matter.
abomination to celluloid is. I mean, for the fact that this old couple sees all their old friends die, and just by decapitating a midget, they're fine and dandy walking off into the sunset.
And
Like,
he's
they're
covered
okay.
in blood, like smiling, like all like shirtless.
Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty badass. He probably did some racist shit in the 50s. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But there's weird like visual stuff going on. I mean, it's quirky. It looks like I don't know when did House of a Thousand Corpses come out, because this kind of feels like they were aping it a little bit.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
Go
I
look
don't
up
know.
when that came out. But anyway,
I don't know the exact date.
but it's a movie that is obviously resting on the laurels of fucking every horror movie that came above it, and it's obviously.
2003. This came out in 2004.
But some tells me it was probably shot around 2003. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure it was like a labor of love. This movie would have made an awesome graphic novel. As a movie, it's not so good. As a graphic
Yeah.
novel, it would be fucking great, because you'd be
Not
like, "Whoa, there's
so
some weird
good
shit going
or
on."
not good at all.
What?
Are you saying it's not so good or not?
It's not good. It's not a good movie. But I'll give him props for the special effects and CG that they did for such a tight budget. But obviously, the guy's a wizard at it. He knows what he's fucking doing.
Right.
Anyway, with that, Danny, what ratings would you give this movie?
Well, I don't know, because it's so bad, but I liked it. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to give this maybe like an 8.
What?
No, because I like it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how bad it is. If I like it, I like it. I would watch this again. I would show this to people.
Yeah, this is one of those movies. But thing is, I would also show Killjoy 2 to people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
But
that.
that's kind of amazing too.
Right, that's what I mean. We gave that movie a really low rating.
All right. As an actual,
I'm not gonna change it. That's up to you. Yeah, as a
I'm
movie.
gonna say this. As a movie that is funny to watch, I'm gonna give this like an 8 out of 10. But as a actual movie, I'm gonna give it like a 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. Pulling a vacuum hose out of Grandma's neck, and she dissolves into a green
Yeah,
rope.
that was, and she changed mid-frame every shot into a bigger mutant mess. I'll give this a 3 out of 35. Having a hallucination of your family and watching your dad serving a hamburger or cheeseburger to an empty chair. So with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Zamba 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 zoo.
The horror deconstruction.